Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamu alaikum students. I'm your chemistry teacher and today we are going to start chapter number 3, that is atomic structure. Now, before starting the chapter atomic structure, we must know the term what is a matter. Anything which having weight and occupy space is called matter. Now, matter is made up of very tiny or minute thing that is called what? Atom. Now, atom in a 15th century, a Greek philosopher Democritus introduced a term, a Greek word, atmos. Atmos mean that not cuttable. Mean atmos. At mean not, and mos mean cuttable. So atmos mean not cuttable. And later on, nowadays we are called it as atom. Now, the first theory come forward for the atom is that theory is known as the Dalton's atomic theory. In 1808, John Dalton, an English school teacher and a chemist, suggested the fundamental idea of atomic. Fundamental means important idea of atomic theory. Now, Dalton gives the postulates. For these postulates are number one, all elements are made up of small, indivisible, indestructible particles called atoms. Indivisible mean they cannot be divided, and indestructible mean not able to destroy. Mean elements are made up of particles which are not destroyed, which are not cuttable, not so, and which are not divided are called atoms. Now, second postulate of the Dalton atomic theory, all atoms of a given element are identical in all respects, having same size, mass, and the chemical properties. But the atom of one element differ from the atom of the other element. It's talking about that we are taking one element, it's all elements, and one element, all atoms are same in size, in their mass, and the chemical properties. But if you are taking a different element, so different element having the different size, mass, and the chemical property. Now, postulate number 3. Compounds are formed when atoms of a more than one element combine in a simple whole number ratio. Now, postulate 3 defines that how compounds are formed. Compounds are formed when elements are combined in element, atom are combined in a simple whole number ratio. So, postulate number 3 related to the compound. Postulate number 4. A chemical reaction is a rearrangement of atoms. He's talking about a chemical reaction. What is a chemical reaction? In which a substance are reacting together, forming a new substances. So this is a chemical reaction. In a chemical reaction, rearrangement of atoms means atoms are changing changing into another one. But atoms themselves are not changed. This means that atoms are neither created nor destroyed in a chemical reaction. Postulate number 4 is related to a chemical reaction. What happens is a chemical reaction in which two or more substances, sometimes one substance, when two or more substances reacting together, it change from one form to another form. So it cannot be destroyed or not created. Mean it's change its form. Mean if since as before the reaction, the starting of the reaction, one element are present, at the end a new element will be or compound will be formed. So these are the 4 basic postulates of our delta atomic theory. Number 1 postulate relate to that the element is made up of an atom which are indivisible, indestructible, and second point is relate to the all elements of a given element are having the same size, mass, and chemical. But if having a different element, so it having a different atom. So it vary according to the element. Number 3 related to the compound are formed when atom of one more or then elements combine in a simple whole number ratio. Fourth is related to a chemical reaction. What happens in the chemical reaction is the rearrangement of an atom, but themselves are not changed. But it's mean that they are not created and destroyed. So mean it's changed from one form to another form. This is all about the Dalton's atomic theory. Another theory we having the modern atomic theory. This theory comes forward to remove the defects or misconceptions about the atom which was given by Dalton. Now, number one point that was modern atomic theory. Dalton atomic theory is further extended and modified by the following points. Now, number one point we having atom is a complex organization of a matter and energy. Modern atomic theory says the atom is a complex organization of a matter and energy, means it is a link between matter and energy. Now, on point number two, particles smaller than atom exist. In uh, Dalton atomic theory, it was not discussed that smaller particle exists, but in modern atomic theory, the new thing comes forward that a particle smaller than an atom can exist. Number third point, the particles smaller than atoms are called subatomic particles, or the fundamental particles. Subatomic particle or the fundamental particle mean they are the important particles. Mean according to modern atomic theory, they having the subparticles, or these are called subatomic particle, or the smaller particles they are called a subatomic particle or the fundamental particles. So further point given by the modern atomic theory is the particles smaller than atoms are called electron, proton, and neutrons. So these subparticles are electron, proton, neutron. As you all we know, electron is a negative charge, proton is a positive charge, and neutron have no charge. Now, next point come forward from Dalton atomic theory. Due to the discovery of isotopes, Dalton's view that all atoms of element having the same atomic mass is modified. Dalton said that all elements having the same atomic mass, but modern atomic theory gives the concepts of an isotope. Isotope means they're having the same atomic number but different atomic mass. So new discovery, that is isotopes, come forward from the modern atomic theory. Now, so these are the five basic one. Now six. Finally, atom of element may differ in atomic mass but have the same atomic number. Finally, atom of element may differ in atomic mass but have the same atomic number. Element in differ mean they are different on the basis of atomic mass. This point again, I was telling about the isotopes. Definition of isotope, what is this? This is they having the same atomic number but they having different atomic mass. So these are the main points of our modern atomic theory. Now, after this, we having I have discussed in a modern atomic theory. This is fundamental particle of atoms. These are number one. We having proton. The proton was discovered by Goldstein in 1886. You all know that uh, and other scientists who worked on our proton discovery is Ernest Rutherford 1990. So these two scientists were worked on proton that were Goldstein and Ernest Rutherford. Now next we having neutron. Neutron having the no charge, is neutral, and it was discovered by the after the working of James Chadwick in 1932. And finally, electron, they're having a negative charge, and it discovered by William Crookes in 1879 and J.J. Thomson 1897, and finally M. Faraday 1830. These three scientists worked on electron, and finally electron were discovered. This is some history about the fundamental particle of atom. These are proton, neutron, and electron, and these were discovered by different scientists in a different eras on different periods. Now, after this, we will move toward the details of these discoveries. First one, we having the discovery of a electron. We all know that electron having a negative charge. Now, how it was discovered? Fundamental particle, a negative charge, was discovered in 1897 by J.J. Thomson. J.J. Thomson introduced the idea that atom having a negative charge particle that is called electron. So for this he performed the experiment. The experiment was performed for the passage of electric current gas is at a low pressure known as the discharge tube experiment. Discharge tube was used an apparatus for this experiment. For this, uh, J.J. Thomson used a discharge tube. This is a discharge tube which is filled with any gas. This is a filled with a This is a discharge tube. This whole tube is a discharge tube which is filled with the gas, and it having two electrodes at the corners. What are the electrodes? Electrodes are the terminals through which electric current can travel. One electrode is called as a cathode and one is called N. Cathode having negative charge and anode having a positive charge. Both electrodes mean cathode and anode are connected through a battery, high voltage battery. So, and there is a vacuum pump. What is the purpose of a vacuum pump in this operator? To release the pressure inside the tube. So, this is a construction. Now, see what are the main steps of the construction. A discharge tube fitted with two aluminum metal electrodes sealed at each end. It is connected to a vacuum pump to reduce the pressure or release the pressure to become a vacuum, and to a high voltage battery to provide required voltage. This is a construction of this separator, that is a cathode rays discharge tube. Now, a discovery of electrons are related about the working and its result. The tube is evacuated and current of high potential, that is 10,000 volts, is passed between electrons. Evacuated means to remove the air. The word evacuated means to remove the air, and current of a high potential means we are passing a high voltage current, that is a 10,000 volt between these two electrodes. So what happens? Streak of a bluish line extending from a negative electrode, that is a cathode, toward the positive electrode, that is a anode. Streak means a thin line of a bluish light extending from negative, move from a negative, that is a cathode, toward the positive. This is observation. The rays appear to travel in a straight. The streak of a bluish line, that is a travel from electrode, that is a cathode to anode, is travel in a straight line from a cathode to anode. Cause the wall at the opposite end of the tube to glow where they strike. These rays are called cathode rays. Mean the rays are travel from a cathode to anode. They travel in a straight line and they give the glow at the opposite side. So this glowing rays is called as a cathode rays. Now, Thomson showed that these rays were deflected toward the positive plate in an electric and magnetic field. This shows that these rays are consisted of a negatively charged particles. Mean these rays were moving toward the anode having the positive charge in the presence of electric and magnetic field. From this, he proved that the rays are the negatively charged particles. Now, the name electron was given to this unit of a negative charge. After it's proving that the ray travels from a cathode to anode, mean it travels from a negative to positive. It's showing that its nature is a negative. That's why its name was given the electron and this unit having a negative charge. Then electrons were obtained irrespective of the nature of a cathode or the gas in the discharge tube. And at the last, it shows that it doesn't matter which type of a gas is present in the discharge tube. Any type of a gas, it doesn't and show the different result. It show the same result, that every gas having the electron and having the negative charge. this is all about the discovery of a electron. Now, next we having related to after the discovery, we come toward the properties of a cathode ray. After performing the experiment, J.J. Thomson gives us some properties of a cathode ray. Number one property, they cast a shadow of object placed in their path toward path and towards the anode, proving they travel in a straight line. They cast a shadow object placed in their path mean they are moving towards the anode. Mean they travel from cathode and reach towards the anode, and they travel in a, so they're showing that they travel in a straight line. Number two property, they cause a light pedal wheel to rotate revolve, showing they are the material particle. Means in this experiment, the wheel that are rotating are revolving, showing that they are the material particles. This the nature is they having the material particle. Then the rays, although invisible, cause some material to glow or produce fluorescence. Their rays are although invisible, these rays are not visible. But they produce a fluorescence. What is a fluorescence? There's a new term for you. It's the emission of a light by a substance that has been absorbed or other electromagnetic radiation. It is a form of luminous, mean maybe visible or invisible radiation come. So once again I am repeating this point. These rays, although invisible, cause some material to glow or produce fluorescence. The next point, they are deflected toward the positive plate in the electric field. Means these rays are moving toward the positive plate in the presence of electric field, means we are providing the electric current, showing that they are a negative charge, but they are moving, these rays are moving in an opposite direction. It means they are moving toward the positive plate. So this shows that they having the negative charge particles. Now, the charge mass, that is a EM ratio of a cathode particles, is 1.7588 10 is to power 8 Cg, that is a coulombs per gram. That is the same for all electron regardless of any gas in the tube. I mean, I have also mentioned before this that any type of a gas can present in the tube, it having the same time nature of the electron. So charge over mass ratio for the cathode particles is same for all types of atoms. Means that is a 1.75 at 88 10 is to power 8 coulombs per gram. This is a fix for all electron and regardless of any gas in the tube. Now last, they can produce a mechanical pressure indicating by their possessing a kinetic energy. They can produce a mechanical pressure. Mechanical mean they are operated by machine. They are showing that they having the kinetic energy. Mean the properties of a cathode rays, we have discussed 6 properties. First one, they travel in a straight line. After the experiment, they discovered that it travel in a straight. How it travel in a straight line? It move from cathode to anode. Because they shown second point showing that they are a material particles, and then these rays are although invisible, but they're showing the some fluorescences. So it's mean they show their emission of a light. Then fourth point was related to that are a negative charge particle. How it is proved? It was a negative charge particle because it's deflected toward the positive plate, that is a anode. The charge mass EM ratio cathode particle was 1.7588 10 to the power 8 is a fix for all electron regardless any gas present in the tube. They having the kinetic energy. This is all about the properties of a cathode rays. Now, so these properties are on the basis of the observation of a J.J. Thomson experiment. Now move back to the experiment that now this is J.J. Thomson experiment. This is a discharge tube. It having two terminals. One is a cathode, one is a anode. Cathode having negative charge, anode having a positive charge. What are the electrode? These are the terminals through which electric current can travel. These two terminals, this one and this one, is connected to a high voltage battery. So then we're having the vacuum pump to release the extra pressure from the discharge tube. When apply a high voltage current, when we apply a high voltage current, what will happen from here? The rays travels toward this side. This is anode. Rays travel from a cathode to the anode. It's from this traveling of the rays. J.J. Thomson give the important properties and give the discovery of electron. The cathode having a negative charge. When these rays travel toward the positive, so it's moving to the opposite direction. It's showing it having a negative charge, and it travel in a straight line. This is another property of these cathode rays. These are travel in a straight line, and these then it is showing the some emission of the light, which and this is all of the invisible rays. In the presence of a electric and or a magnetic field, they are traveling from here to here. So from this experiment, he comes toward the conclusion that there is a subatomic particle having the negative charge that is called, after this discovery, he given the name the electron, and showing that it has moved from this side to this side, means from cathode to anode. So it moving to opposite side, they having a negative charge, and from this comes toward the the discovery of an electron. We come to forward, and from all these, the properties of a cathode rays as well as the nature of electron were based on the J.J. Thomson work. So tube is evacuated and current of high voltage is passed because the why tube is evacuated, because we want to release the extra pressure inside that tube. So to become to make a vacuum. That's why we are able to provide a high potential volt. So between two electrodes. That's why we get the result. Streak of bluish light extending from a negative electrode, that is a cathode, and towards the positive electrode, that is an anode. Streak means there is a line of a bluish light moving from a negative electrode toward the positive. This point also gives the clue or hint about or result about that the nature of the cathode. Now we having that these rays travel in a straight line. This is also proved with the help of experiment. They are traveling from a cathode to anode. They are moving on the opposite direction. So they are giving the cathode ray. Thomson also showed they are reflected toward the positive plate in electric and magnetic field. We are applying these two conditions, electric and magnetic field. This shows that these rays consist of a negative charge particles. Then the name electron was given of this unit of a negative charge, and electron obtained irrespective of means any type of gas present in a discharge tube, it doesn't matter. It gives the same properties of the electron. So this is all about the results of the and properties of a cathode. Now overview of the properties of a cathode rays. They are first summary of the first point. They travel in a straight line. The summary of the second one, they showing they are the material particle. Number three, they are invisible, showing they glow or produce a fluorescence. They reflected toward the positive and negative, showing they are the negative. And their charge mass ratio, that is a 1.75 raised to power 8, is the same for the all electron, and they possess the kinetic energy. This is overview of the properties of a cathode rays. Now comes toward the home task. List out the important postulates of a Dalton atomic tube. You list out the important postulates. 4 postulates. You will write the 4 postulates of a Dalton atomic theory according to my slide number 1. Describe the discovery of electron. You will describe discovery of in which you will give the work, will the construction. First, you will give the introduction, then construction, then lastly working on the result. You will give a detailed answer of a discovery of electron with the help of a diagram. Now, explain the properties of a cathode rays. You can take the properties of cathode ray from the last slide. This is about the cathode rays. What are the main points of the modern atomic theory? So you will take the main points of modern atomic theory from the slide number 2. So all these questions you must copy down in your fair copy and do proper work with the help of markers and pointer and heading with the subheading. So all questions, that is question number 1 about the Dalton's atomic theory. Second is the discovery of electron. Third is related to the cathode ray, and fourth one is the modern atomic theory. These 4 topics are in detail given in my slides. So please follow these slides and answer this in your fair copy. So okay, this is all about today's lesson. That is about the. So we have started the atomic structure and we have discussed Dalton atomic theory, modern atomic theory, discovery of electron, and properties of a cathode rays, and then we have shared the home task. This is all about today's lecture. Now, thank you.